subliminally compelled him to share all he knew with me. But as disillusioned with my own extrasensory powers as I was, I must admit that Cal Dunham was simply presenting me with his alibi. The covering of one's own butt is powerful incentive while standing over a dead body. This June 12th had begun, just like every other day in the past 6 years since Cal Dunham's retirement from offshore fishing, or so he told me as we conversed over the waterlogged corpse. He had risen with the sun, sipped a cup of red rose tea, and enjoyed a Chesterfield cigarette before slipping out the door without waking Betty, his wife of nearly 50 years. He had driven his Ford pickup the potholed 3 miles to Turner's fish plant, his place of employment, along with nearly everyone else in Green Haven who didn't go to sea. He had arrived 1 hour before the plant was officially open, sometime after the owner and bookkeeper, Ginny Turner. "The owner of your plant is your boss, and she's at work before you?" I asked, thinking about my experience with bosses and not recalling any who were on the job prior to me. Suspicious, I thought.
"She's part fish,"
Cal said in defense of his boss.
"Certain types of fish surface at night. She spends the wee hours accounting bait, fish, lobsters, and clams bought and sold the previous day, settling up with the fishermen and diggers, and taking phone orders from customers down the coast to be packed and delivered each day. Everyone else in Green Haven is tucked into bed when Ginny is most productive. Everything was as usual until I got out of my truck and saw Ginny at the end of the wharf. She's always up there."
Cal pointed to a second-story window overlooking the harbor.
"Hovering over the company checkbook like a gull on a mussel."
"What was she doing on the dock?" I asked impatiently. "And what were you doing here?" I didn't bother explaining to Cal that I was not here to investigate a murder, as old habits are hard to break. I listened intently as he continued to fill in some blanks.
"I guess I'm what you'd call the foreman around here. I take orders from the queen and give them to the worker bees. I always come to work early, just habit," Cal explained. "Anyway, when I looked to see what she was gawking at, there was old Nick, face down."
Cal said that he and Ginny quickly agreed she should call someone while he pulled the cold and partially rigor mortis body out of the incoming tide.
"I figured she'd dial up the sheriff or the county coroner. Never thought the insurance company would get here first. Ain't that just like people, though? Worried about their pocketbooks, with poor Nick here, dead as he can be."
Oh, how I was enjoying the flow of information I was not really privy to, and the unsolicited editorializing, absent any intimidation from me, was a gift. If I had stumbled upon a similar scene back in Miami, there wouldn't have been a drop of information that didn't first come through the filter of an attorney. Cal appeared ill at ease in the presence of a female he assumed was here to question him regarding the body. From what he said, it seemed that his boss feared a wrongful death suit since the body had washed up below her dock. Again, Cal hadn't asked, so I would not confess that I was actually here to do a routine safety examination and survey of the fish plant and surrounding properties for insurance purposes. Coincidentally, this body had washed ashore. I've always been lucky that way. I shrugged at Cal's disgust that I had arrived on scene before the law enforcement officials. Accustomed to even less enthusiastic greetings, I began pacing off the piece of jagged shoreline between 2 rickety slime-covered ladders secured to the west face of Turner's dock.
"Well, if you ask me, which you have not," Cal continued, "you might want to do some moonlighting here at the plant. I think you'll find there ain't a lot to investigate in Green Haven, not like Florida. Dead bodies on the beach don't occur too much here."
Ah, there it was. A bit of my past had arrived in Green Haven. I snapped a few photos and jotted something in my notebook, but my mind was now occupied with questions unrelated to the scene. I wondered how much this stranger knew about my circumstances, other than that I had come to Maine from